Hi guys, what is going on, and welcome back to another video on Conqueror's Blade. So today we are going to be taking a look at Imperial archers. So yeah, I've really had a bit of a mixed experience with these guys. I've been leveling these guys up for quite a while. I actually got them finished quite a while ago, but haven't got around to making the video, so finally getting around to taking a look at them. And yeah, as I say, kind of a mixed experience with them for a couple of reasons. So if we go over and have a look at the stats, we'll kind of see that, and we'll probably come back to doctrines. So I've gone along the top route, basically for just the general increased damage. Personally, for me, I think this is the better route. You know, you're getting the increased rate of fire, and you're getting that 15% increased armor penetration. Arguably, I've heard a few people try to defend the bottom route because it's basically nullifying the reduced rate of fire that you get if you use the bodkin ability. Because one of the Imperial Archer's unique abilities is this ability to activate bodkin arrows, which reduces your rate of fire by 25%. And knocks your damage down a bit, but massively increases your armor penetration. So if you're shooting at something like Reapers, then it's often worth toggling this on because, well, it is worth toggling it on because it increases your damage effectively because your armor penetration then skyrockets. So your actual damage per hit goes up quite a lot. But for me, I think on average, I tend to use against lesser targets more often. I'm using just general rate of fire without bodkins. So for me, I think this is the veterancy line to go for. In terms of their actual core stats, they're pretty nice. That base armor penetration of 1580 is actually good. I mean, for an archer unit, that's really quite nice. And then with that base piercing damage of, 1900, again, that's a really quite a high base value, I think. And a lot of that is obviously buff on the fact I've got the doctrines, obviously the plus 60 piercing damage and the plus 75 piercing AP from doctrines. But all in all, it feels like these archers hit pretty hard. And their rate of fire is pretty reasonable. The ammo capacity, again, 1320, pretty decent. They make this sort of fairly nice all-round archer unit. They don't shoot as far as longbows, but 94, it's not a shabby amount of range. The one area I find that they do fall down, and this is true really of all archer units, not really specific to Imperial archers, but I think with the way the game's developed with a lot more ranged heroes, a lot more, there's cannon units, you're now coming up against Pavese crossbows, a lot of things that can tank a lot of damage as a ranged unit, or at least tank some damage as a ranged unit, and dish out quite a bit of explosive damage, i.e. explosive arrow from longbow heroes, and only having 2400 hit points and piercing defense of 400 means that they are quite a fragile unit. And while this is true of all archer units, including things like Namkhans, remember these are 260 leadership, running 90 off a golden era unit, so they are quite expensive if you end up losing them in a silly situation, and that happens. At least in my experience, that has happened quite a bit where I just stop paying attention for a split second, particularly as a melee hero, when I'm trying to get myself to go forwards as well, turn around and an explosive arrow comes in and wipes out half the unit. So yeah, I've had a pretty mixed experience with them. Anyway, let's hop into some battles now, kind of see how we've been getting on, and yeah, take a bit of a look at these guys. Completed our long walk from the supply point, and we're now just pushing into the castle. And I immediately nearly make a catastrophic mistake. I didn't notice the Keshiks charging in, but luckily their cavalry player actually pulls them back. I think they were trying to save the unit, but in reality my archers then just get actually quite a nice number of kills on them. We killed sort of 6 or 7 of them then. That's quite expensive for a golden era unit. So we got kind of lucky there. That was not great observational skills by me. But anyway, we survived, we're on, and the team is already doing a really good job of pushing quite hard. Got the supply point already. Really nice job for the team. So I'm just trying to push around as quickly as I can, trying to urge the archers on, want to get them into position. And if we do, because we've got some nice things that we can kill here, some nice forte-brachos we can start coming in. And another unit of Keshiks charges us. But thankfully, don't quite get far enough. There was quite a lot of fire going in, just too much for that cav to break through. But you see the sort of damage values we're getting, particularly against like some of these forte-brachos. We're hitting for high thousands, and units just don't stand up to that, and that's why we got so many kills quite quickly. And I think that's probably my favourite thing about these archers. They're not the fastest firing archers in the game, they're not the most damaging archers in the game, but they are very consistent. They have a really nice accuracy, they fire at a decent rate, and they have decent damage. And they just consistently put out reasonable damage, and that's what makes them nice. And that's what we see here again. Some javelin sergeants. I am slightly dicing with death here. Ooh. Ooh. Just missed it. But the damage we're getting from our Imperial archers, keeping them in. The unit's half dead by the time we get there. And with the thanks of our Rattans that we're pushing up down the centre as well. That's another heroic era unit just basically cut to pieces without being able to do anything. So we're pushing on, looking for the next targets, and trying to think about which way I'm going to want to assault the point. I was thinking about going straight on, but a few heroes are going up here, so I'm thinking, okay, let's go this way and have a bit of a look then. So the problem here was they've got a unit of Fortebraccios up, and we don't have really any friendly melee support or shield units that can stand in front. So it means I can't realistically push around the corner. You'll see this friendly musket unit does push around the corner, and they receive an awful lot of return fire and just get cut down really quickly. And I wasn't prepared to just throw my unit away for no real gain. So it's all I'm trying to do instead is I'm just trying to side scrape my unit very slightly, just so they can a few of them on the end can shoot from a bit of an angle, and we get a few hits and a few kills. A little against the Fortebraccios, but mostly just against these serfs, so not really a great deal of contribution to the game. But while I was trying to decide what to do, I thought it was sort of better than nothing, and better than getting the unit thrown away anyway. Just kind of looking where I wanted to put that trim in. I'm looking for the green arrows on my left, and there we go. I decide where I'm going to throw it. Not a great shot, but it gets a few kills. This spear is about to make a mistake. Boom. These guys are accurate, and the high penetration means that they deal with heroes really quite effectively. If you come against these guys like this, they will kill you quick like that spear. You just turn to the corner. I'm not going to say they snap fired because they've not got guns, but snap to loose an arrow at him. They do shoot fast and they are accurate and they hit hard. I did find I couldn't get them to lock onto the target over the top of this barricade. I actually had to get to manually aim them. We get a few shots over there, and then I was just kind of decided, what am I doing? I'm wasting time here. I'm shooting a unit of serfs whose sole job is to be cannon fodder, and I'm basically just obliging them and wasting time. So right, pushing on, trying to get to this supply point, because we're cutting the enemy off from their spawn point to their base point. Even though there is actually now a way round, if you go right from the top from the spawn, you can actually get around and back to the base point. But we're still occupying a large number of enemy players here at the supply point. Plus I wanted to get my unit healed up a little bit anyway. Another spear player makes the same mistake, exposes himself for too long, and the archers get time to aim and fire. Just hit hard enough that the hero just dies pretty quickly. And realistically, I don't want to spend my whole time here, but at the same time, it's hard to not have the kills when there's just such easy kills, limited ammo on a supply, and we're healing and everything. Just getting some shots in on the units as they come around. Trying to hit some of those Namcans is what I was trying to do. And the enemy hero sticks his head, just gets back in time to avoid the volley of arrows. I do see those Pavis coming around in the distance. I was trying to pull back a bit to get into position and take aim, but they actually move the unit before I get a chance to return fire. But I would have liked to get some shots in on them, ideally. So then I'm thinking, right, okay, this supply point is definitely secure. We've got quite a few people here. We've got Fortebraccios. They're not going to be getting out of that base point from that alleyway there, certainly. So how are we going to capture the point? I need to be pushing on now, and that's what I'm trying to do. Pulling my archer unit back round. We're back up to health. We've got a full stack of ammo. Hello to the person in chat. And we're pushing on, looking for my way in. And I think I've decided that I wanted to go through this way. Although we're about to get immediately hit by a bomb. Bang. Which didn't do me many favours, but the unit's still going. And I'm just kind of waiting basically for friendly melee to turn up now to take the lead, and then we can follow in, you know, hard behind. And that's what I wanted to do. We've got these Rattan Ragers here doing a good job, but there's a fair bit of enemy range stuff there, so I don't really want to face that frontally. Thankfully, friendly Fortebraccios and Iron Reapers turn up, and we get a real spot of luck, because I think, let's advance with them. And coincidentally, just as I decided that, we managed to avoid a Conqueror charge. That was luck. Much as I would like to say that was good planning and observation, that was just luck. But we do actually get some real damage against those Conqueror. Some of them that turned their back on us. You know, we're hitting sort of 2,000, 2,500 critical values. And yeah, that cuts a unit down pretty quickly when you've got 20 odd models shooting at you. So as we advance, I'm now trying to do the same thing as I was doing earlier. I'm basically trying to clip this corner. The enemy has got their spears and Pavis set up kind of close to the edge of the corner, so they can basically shoot round, and for us to be able to attack them, we have to push around that corner. So I'm effectively trying to go as far back and nudge myself along, so I can get my units to shoot around the corner without exposing the whole unit. And generally it works pretty well. And these forte pressures actually end up retreating once the hero gets killed. And we just get a ton of damage in them. You know, at this sort of range, the archers can't miss. Hitting for sort of 1500 a shot just means that they get cut down really, really rather quickly. Much like I nearly got cut down myself with a hero. But that's it. The team has now pushed in on the left and cleared that way. We're really starting to get pressure on point. I'm confident at this point, at least we're going to at least capture with this push. And then we're just got to hold them off. So I bring the unit up to make sure we don't get attacked from behind. But just sort of killing these last couple of heroes. We actually have a really hard time hitting these couple of guys. They're moving around so much. Couldn't really get the archers to track them. We're trying to get that short sword. Then thankfully this poleaxe just comes a bit too close in the end, and we managed to get the hits in to finish him off. And I just pull the unit onto the point, and I really didn't expect any further opposition from here. I thought this was sort of game, set, and match by this point. Didn't think they'd really push back, didn't think they'd really have time. But they do. And that's probably why I left my archer unit too far forwards. In hindsight, I should have put them, you know, another 5-10 metres further back. They'd have been able to shoot just fine and they would have been safe. And then they're starting to push, and then I realised that, oh blimey, it's Iron Reapers. So I better toggle my bodkin arrows on, get the bodkin arrows on to get the extra damage. And you see, we do hit quite a bit harder then. And that is one of the benefits of the bodkin arrows, is the increased armour penetration makes it much better against highly armoured targets. I find it's quite hard to decide where that tipping point is. You know, when does a target become sufficiently armoured it's worth taking the rate of fire reduction for the bodkins. But anyway, all in all, really quite a decent game. 3 hero kills, 88 unit kills, not a bad unit. As I say, my biggest problem with them is just the fact that they're quite fragile. It's quite easy to get hit by an explosive arrow, make a mistake, get them out of position and get killed. And that's something that I tend to do quite a lot. I tend to do quite a few mistakes. So that's kind of my biggest drawback with them. But once you can get them into position and get that damage on, they do hit hard, they are accurate, and yeah, a really quite a nice unit. Anyway, that is all I've got time for today. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video. If you have, do let me know what you think in the comments down below. Of course, subscribe to the channel for a load more Conqueror's Blade content. Thanks for watching, guys, and I shall see you all on the next video.